Welcome to this new series where we're going to tell you everything you need to know before coming to Thailand as an exchange student. We're going to cover topics from finances, visa, transportation, food, everything you need to know will be discussed. In today's episode, we are going to talk about tips for traveling in Southeast Asia. But first, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Xamaica. I'm both from the Netherlands and from Thailand.
Hey, I'm Nate, I'm 22, I'm Dutch.
I'm Tomke, I'm 26, I'm also Dutch.
I'm Lisa, I'm 23 and I'm from France. My name is Maud, I'm 21 and I'm from France.
Our first question is going to be, what countries have you visited in Southeast Asia and what were your experiences like? I'll start with Maud.
Okay. So I went to Bali in Indonesia. It was really great, but the plane was way more expensive than what I thought. So I paid 400 euros for the travel. But in Bali was really cheap, I think. Like the hotel was really expensive, so we took an Airbnb and we paid, I think, for 1 week 500 euros for 3 people, so I think it's quite okay. It was like a beautiful villa, so yeah, it was really great. For the plane, I booked in trip.com, so I think this is the best way, like the best prices, I think. And yeah, that's quite all.
So we also went to Singapore, so it's quite much more expensive.
Yes.
But you can find foods for like really cheap food, like for 5 euros, so it's okay. But to rent like an hotel, it was so expensive.
But we went during the
during
GP,
so it was
Formula One.
so much more expensive.
Yes, it was really
So,
expensive. We had like a small room with with no
no window.
no windows.
Yeah.
It was like really bad, but
And
yeah,
really
because I think of
expensive.
the Formula One, it was like worse. But it was a great trip.
Yeah, it's so nice. And I also went to Japan, so in Tokyo, Kamakura and stuff like this, for 10 days. So Tokyo is like, to rent something, it's really expensive as well, I think. But I use Airbnb as well because it's cheapest than the hotel or stuff. And you spend much more than in Thailand because you eat food everywhere and you want to do like some activities and stuff. So the money goes fast, but
Yeah, of course.
it's amazing. And I book also the trip with trips.com.
I've been to Indonesia and Vietnam, and like Nathan will say in another episode, you will be spending more than you think, I think, with every trip, and that's just because you want to do activities when you're there for only a small period. So always keep in mind that you will be spending money, but it's, in my opinion, the best money you will ever spend. So it's like an investment that you will never forget. So keep that always in mind. And I think other stuff with traveling, you will make some stupid mistakes. And every time there's a new type of money, you will make a conversion mistake in your head. And I think there's not really a way to help this before you go. I think it's also a part of the experience that you just make mistakes. So don't be mad at yourself if you lose 10 euros here or there. It happens a couple of times and then you know it for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, I actually went to Bali in China. Bali was nice, a little bit more expensive than I thought, especially for the plane. I didn't know that. Kind of touristic. I would suggest you go to a different island in Indonesia, like Lombok, just because Bali is a little bit more touristy orientated. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. And China was amazing, also very affordable. The things I've really learned about when I want to travel to Southeast Asia are, first of all, make sure you look up everything you need to know about visa and re-entry permit. So if you are in Thailand and you have a visa and you want to leave, you have to get a re-entry permit. And also for Vietnam, I thought as a Dutch person I didn't need a visa, but I did. And therefore I booked a vacation, but at like 2 days prior I found out that I needed a visa. So that was just 250 euros of sunk cost, just lost. So make sure you always look at everything. For China I did too, but I was lucky that for people of certain countries they could enter the Republic of China for 15 days visa free. So that's what when I took my chance. And also, like I said, make sure you look at your own country's re-entry like demands, and requirements. What do you have to do? What do you have to get? So something I should look.
Cool. And like, are you having like any travel plans, like other countries?
South Korea for my friend and me.
South Korea,
In Thailand, but
not outside
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm going to Indonesia again, not to Bali, but to other places like Lombok.
Cool.
I've been to Flores, what was way better than Bali in my opinion. And now I want to go to Sulawesi, which is a big island in Indonesia as well.
Cool.
I wanted to go to Philippines, but my time is running out. So I'm going to Koh Tao
Okay.
again.
Oh, Koh Tao is nice.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Second is, how do you research visa requirements for neighboring countries? You kind of told about that, but like, how do you do the research?
Very easy. Google. Just Google anything. There are two things you should do. You either Google visa requirements for that certain country of your home country, and then every country has like a government site, in the Netherlands is the Rijksoverheid, and they will tell you everything you need to know when you're traveling to certain countries, what are the dangers, and also what do you need as a Dutch person to enter that. You either do that or you go to the internet website of the embassy of that certain country, and there everything is stated. When I wanted to go to Thailand, all the information I needed about visa requirements for this country, I looked up at the Thai embassy in the Netherlands. They have their own website, and they gave me all the information needed. So yeah, definitely do that. Then no risk.
And you?
Yeah, I don't have any more
said
advice.
something.
You said something.
You said something, but ChatGPT.
But ChatGPT,
Yeah.
you can just add ChatGPT and
Yeah, but
you
then
have
you
all
still
the
need to check it.
information. It's
Yeah.
faster.
So you can try to do that. Okay, like, what budget travel tips do you have for exploring the region?
And the region, you mean Thailand? Or
No,
just
I
anything?
think a region you're going to.
I would say talk to a lot of people, talk to your hostel or hotel, just do your own research online. It's not that hard, I think. You can also use ChatGPT and check online then if it's good recommendation. And I also feel like you need to be a bit interested in the places you're gonna go, because you're gonna go there with a reason. So it's also nice to put in some research, and like, especially when you don't have enough time to do everything you want, just do the research of what you want to do most to get the most out of your trip, I think.
And like, when you go on a trip, right, you have a budget, but what if you exceeded like a lot? Like, do you have like tips for that? Like, when it comes out way more expensive than you actually thought?
Yeah, you
Well-
can just travel as long.
Most of the time, like if you travel, have a trip, then during the trip you don't really exceed the money you have, because you never do. It's always at the aftermath when you actually come back to Thailand, where you see that your bank account is just zero. That's where I think, oh shit, I can't eat. Also, one of the a good tip is make sure that when you go to a country and you want to do trips, look if there's any student discount. In China, I saved, I think, like about 80 or 90 euros because a lot of the trips there were, oh, you student, 50% off, which is insane, especially because some trips are like 45 euros, so like 22.50 of discount. Definitely worth it. That's like two days of eating there. There's even cheaper than Thailand, actually, where I went.
Wow. Are there any specific travel apps or resources you recommend?
ChatGPT. For real,
ChatGPT.
I use it a lot. Like, I ask like, I'm going this day and for how many times I will spend there and what kind of travel I want and stuff.
Yeah.
And it gives me like a plane with everything, which days and with addresses and stuff really good I can do, and it was amazing for my Japan trip. I did so many things I found with ChatGPT and it was so good, so it's so good.
Okay, so ChatGPT.
And really easy to use.
And then like in Bali, like did you use like other apps than in Thailand for?
And
I don't-
no, I use the
Yeah,
same.
you can use travel blogs, I think, as well, just so sites. I also bought a Lonely Planet, but I don't find it really convenient and fast. And you still get recommendations. So I would say maybe get a blog that you like from somebody that you trust and use that as recommendations as well. Or just Google it and Google the location where you're going, and like, I don't know, if you like nature, Google the location and with nature, and you will find probably also some tips.
Okay. Like, and how do you plan your trips while balancing studies and travel? Because we're all here, of course, we're on exchange, so we're going to university. So how do we do that?
So the first month, I highly recommend you go to school as much as possible. After which you kind of get a good view of what you can skip and not. So the first month, like the first, I know, but for real, the first month for me, I went to virtually I had everything, all classes, and then you have your attendance, whatever, and then I don't know, for the month of October I was just gone, and they don't really notice it. Also, not only that, but when you have your first test, that is when you know how hard that subject is for you. Because schooling here works a lot different than in Europe. You know, it's just one lecture a week of 3 hours, and a lot of the time virtually no homework. Just one lecture, that's it. Therefore, you could argue that that lecture is very valuable. But I mean, like for me, it's only pass or fail anyway. I mean, there's no different for me to get an A+ or a D. Pass is a pass. That's bad advice, but also, I mean,
It's
you wanna travel,
realistic,
innit?
right? Yeah. And also, like the teachers, they do know that people travel.
Yeah.
They do know
exactly.
You can a lot of the time there was one class where you have like in-class participation, but she also told us that okay, I get a lot of exchange students. Just say to me that you're going to travel, because I understand that if you're here, you don't want to stay in Bangkok for 4 months.
Yeah.
Just say it,
Yeah,
and then
because,
I'm expecting you not to be there, and that's okay.
Okay, so that was your tactic, right? First month going to university, and then.
Yeah, but you have to know, dip your toe in the water, see what the temperature is, and I mean, if it's very, I have to like it, I have to see if it's doable.
Okay.
If it's, I need to pass it though. So
Yeah. And you, Maud, like how did you manage it?
Because I'm in engineering university, so it's kind of different. I have like a lot of homework, so I cannot really skip classes, but I have only classes Monday and Tuesday.
Wow.
So it's okay because I have 5 days to travel, so I don't really need to skip classes. But I have a lot of homework, so I cannot like skip. But I think 5 days is enough.
Yeah.
And I managed to have only 2 days of classes, so because you can choose your courses, and so maybe you have to you can skip, or you can manage to have like all your classes in one or 2 days. it depends of.
I think it depends
what you
on
are
your study
studying.
as well. Then.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends on
Because I only need 4 classes.
Yeah,
So I
have
managed to
5.
have it only on Monday and Tuesday as well.
Yeah, for me it's different again. So I think Nathan's tip is very good to just go for
Yeah.
a certain amount of time to see whether what's possible, and it's also I think subjective, because if you really like the subject, you maybe want to study more.
Yeah.
So think for yourself if you want to travel or are you here for studying or both. Then you need to balance it.
Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Bye.